السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحان الذي يسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا. صدق الله العظيم وصدق مولانا النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك ومن الشاهدين ومن الشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Glory be to the one who took his servant Muhammad ﷺ by night from the sacred mosque to the furthest mosque whose surroundings we have blessed, so that we may show him some of our signs. Indeed, he is alone, he is all hearing and all seeing. This is talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we gave Musa alayhi salam the scripture and we made it a guide for the children of Israel, stating, do not take besides me any other trustee of affairs. O descendants of those who we carried with Noah in the ark, he was indeed a grateful servant. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and may He give us the better understanding that we may apply the lessons of the Quran and the Hadith that we discussed today. And may He forgive me for any sins of omission and commission and any sins which I make with my mouth while speaking about the Quran and the Hadith. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu relates that the Prophet ﷺ said, you should not undertake a special journey to visit any other place other than the following three masajid, with the expectations of getting greater reward. The sacred masjid of Makkah, the Kaaba, Masjid al-Haram, the Masjid al-Naim, Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Medina, and Masjid al-Aqsa of Jerusalem. In another narration, the words are, for three masajid, a special journey must be undertaken. The sacred Masjid Kaaba, my masjid, and the Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. And these hadiths are found in Bukhari, Muslim, and Sunan of Abu Dawud. So, inshallah, at the end, we'll have some announcements for brothers and sisters who are sick and who have passed away. Yes, brother. So, we are talking about today about Falastin. We're talking about Al-Quds, Bayt al-Maqdis, which is one of the masajid which we should try to visit. I know it's really hard to go visit. I know many of our brothers and sisters who are in this community who are from Palestine, whose families are from Palestine. Most of them who live in Palestine, they can't go. It's absolutely forbidden for them. But for us who have the blue passport with the eagle on the front, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy for us. So we should really, there's many groups who go out there. We should really see Bayt al-Maqdis, see the situation which our brothers and sisters are going through. So it really affects our heart. For example, I work for a charity organization. And our charity organization, twice a year, we send youth, American youth, to Kenya, Jordan, Pakistan. And these youngsters, they go for 6 days to 7 days. And they work in these, clandestine villages with the people who need help. And it really changes the perspective of the people. It really changes the mindset of the people. That what we see on TV affects us. But when we see it in person, it changes our whole perspective. That if a person sees the Salah on TV, Kaaba, they're seeing the Kaaba, Bayt al-Haram, that they're seeing people praying there. They're seeing the Salah in the Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They're seeing the Salah going on in Bayt al-Maqdis. It makes you feel a certain way. But when you go there, for example, you go to the Kaaba, you go there and you're wearing your ihram, and you take a look up, your mind is blown by the beauty of this house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A very simple structure. The Kaaba is a very simple structure. Very simple. What you're wearing, very simple. But the experience you have upon seeing the Kaaba is out of this world. Similarly, I haven't been to Bayt al-Maqdis, but what I hear from people such as our own Sheikh Anis, Imam Anis, he went a few months back in November. He took a group. They went to Masjid al-Haram in Makkah, they went to Medina, and they went to Bayt al-Maqdis for a few days. And we heard him, he spoke about it. When you go there and you see it, and you see the serenity, and you see the peace that you get over there, it's out of this world. It's because it's one of the chosen houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu relates, I asked the Prophet ﷺ, tell us the legal injunction about visiting Bayt al-Maqdis. The Prophet ﷺ said, go and pray there. If you cannot visit it and pray there, then send some oil to be used in the lamps. So our brothers and sisters in Palestine who are suffering or are having a hard time, we can also help them out. We can help out by eating in the Bayt al-Maqdis. That the Prophet ﷺ is instructing us, send oil for the lamps. The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us small ways to gain a lot of benefit in this dunya and in the hereafter. He doesn't say, you read a lot of the hadith, it talks about small things to do. Easy way to do things. Things you can do without even, getting in the face of doing it, really. Such as, when he gave the instructions, Aisha radiallahu anha, one time she sent money for somebody, as sadaqah zakat. She said to her nephew, she said, just put it on his bed and leave. That's all you do. Don't do anything beyond that. And the reason why you do this is so the person receiving doesn't feel like he's a person begging or being humiliated by any means. And the person giving doesn't get any sort of pride in their heart that I'm helping somebody out. That we should never be looking for this sort of pride that, oh, look, I can help out 100 people. So the Prophet ﷺ is instructing us to just send oil for the lamps so that the people can continue to do their ibadah. Throughout the course of the night, come for Isha, pray easily. Easy things. The Prophet ﷺ always tells us easy things. Zayd ibn Thabit reports that the Prophet ﷺ said, how blessed is Al-Sham. Bilad al-Sham, you call that, generally speaking, the brothers and sisters who are from the area, they will know this term of Sham. The Prophet ﷺ then was asked by the companions, why is that? The Prophet ﷺ replied, I see the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spreading their wings over Al-Sham. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu added, the prophets lived therein. There is not a single inch of Al-Quds, Jerusalem, where a prophet has not prayed or an angel has not stood. And this is from Tirmidhi and Ahmad. So we know the fadail of Al-Quds. We know what our brothers and sisters over there are going through. Just a few nights ago, there were 9 brothers and sisters who were killed in Jenin. And there was just, I think, 2 days ago, I don't know how to say the name of the village. If I say it incorrectly, somebody knows how to say it properly, please let me know. I think it's Qariyut. It was attacked at night. There were, not by any military force, by settlers, and they threw tear gas and things like this inside of the houses. And the people complained that their kids could not breathe. And houses were damaged, cars were damaged, ambulances. If you saw the pictures, you would be in horror. The ambulances were stoned so that people who were afflicted by this couldn't even make it to the hospital, whatever semblance of a hospital they have in this village. They couldn't make it there. They even damaged the ambulances. This past week, and a man from here, he went over there and he broke into one of the churches and he started damaging the church. He started breaking the statues and saying, you shouldn't have any statues in Jerusalem and things like this. And, on the 28th of January, over the course of the night, there was 144 instances of gun violence against Palestinian people in one night. And these are all from verified news sources. I didn't pull these out of my pocket. You can go online and you can search each one of these and you will see multiple reports. So these are the things which our brothers and sisters over there are going through. These are the trials and tribulations they're going through. On a daily basis, they get humiliated, they get hurt, they get bothered. An old man going for medical treatment to the hospital may get checked 3 to 4 times. He may have to pass through 3 or 4 security checkpoints. Can you imagine that? A young person, I don't even consider myself young anymore, but out of us, someone left their phone? Okay, someone, you left your phone? I'm sure you can come get it here. It says right here Abdul Malik, so I don't know. A brother named Abdul Malik, I guess. Um, so what is it? Is yours? Okay, he'll get it after. Okay, alhamdulillah, we found the person whose phone it is. So we know the suffering which our brothers and sisters are going through. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the fadail of this land, the fadail of this people, the suffering that they go through. Telling us all this. Do we get even an inkling of the feeling of what they're going through? My uncle went there at the end of December. He said, I saw what happens over there. He's saying, and it changes your perspective of how you see things. That just going to the masjid, just going to Masjid al-Aqsa, Bayt al-Maqdis, becomes difficult. They won't let you even approach it. My own cousin, she looks a little bit Palestinian. Looks a little bit, slightly. Totally Desi. Her mother is from India, her father is from Pakistan. She was harassed. They said, present your passport to us. We want to make sure you're American. We don't think you're American. We think you're Palestinian. An American citizen who's over there trying to go to pray gets accosted, gets harassed just to go pray. And the Prophet ﷺ he knew this. He's telling us the fadail of this land. He's, through the Quran, we're finding out how blessed this land is. So we really should make a trip there as much as we can and spend our money with our Muslim brothers and sisters over there. They have small shops. Many times they may have to close down because of what's going on. They're getting shaken, they're getting harassed, things like this. Or, in Ramadan, 2 Ramadans ago, where the Masjid al-Aqsa was being completely, destroyed and desecrated. They can't have their shops open. So we should go there and we should spend money with them. But many times, you don't have to just give charity. You can, like, for example, if you go to Pakistan and you're riding in a rickshaw, everybody's heard of a rickshaw, small car, 3 wheels. You're riding in a rickshaw, you negotiate the rickshaw driver down. It says 100 rupees, which is worth nothing now. Say, no, I'll give you 75. Fine, I'll take you for 75. When you get to your destination, you give him 125. It's not much. Over there, especially, it's not much. For an American, it's almost nothing. I think the rupees are 276 today for $1. Give him a little bit of money extra. It makes his day. You go into a shop, the shop owner who's been going through so much trouble to keep a shop open. So Muslims like us, Muslims like you and me, can go there and comfortably shop. We go there and we maybe instead he doesn't want the tip. We buy 2 things and we give it to one of our friends over here. We can help people out without making it seem like we're doing any act of charity even. Everything has become so easy for us as Muslims. Especially living in this time and this era in the United States, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made things so easy for us. So if we cannot understand the plight and suffering of our Muslim brothers and sisters, and we cannot sympathize with them, we cannot try to associate with them, we really need to look inside of ourselves and see what's wrong with me. We hear the stories of Sahaba, Tabi'in, Tabi'in, who would have shops in the markets of Arabia. And they would instruct the person that go shop with the person who is across from me, and people would ask him, that man is a Christian. I've sold plenty today, he hasn't made any sales, help him out. They would do things like this. These were our pious predecessors, as people call the Salaf al-Salih. These were our earliest generations. They were not looking out for themselves. They weren't just looking out for their stomach. They weren't just looking out for their pockets. They were looking out for each and every member of society. And these are the lessons we have till today. Are we looking out for each and every member of society, or are we looking out for our own benefit? That a lot of times people will do things, they're very wrong, but they'll do them for their own benefit. You see many Muslims who speak out against our brothers and sisters in Palestine, who speak out against them, Muslims, just to appease people around them so maybe they can get a tip or maybe they can get a better job. Will you sell your soul to get a better job? Maybe in this dunya for a few weeks or a few months you might feel better about yourself, but remember, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you and it's going to haunt you. So never, ever give in to anything which goes against the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it includes this: agreeing with occupiers, agreeing with people who desecrate the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never, ever can you agree with this. Muawiyah ibn Sufyan reports that the Prophet said, there's a group amongst my followers who will continue to be openly on the truth. No one who opposes them can harm them until the coming of the hour. The companions radiallahu anhu asked, where will they be? The Prophet ﷺ said, they will be in and around Bayt al-Maqdis. And this is a hadith from Ahmad. And so the Prophet ﷺ is instructing us about the valor and the zeal and the truth of these people. So we have to continue to make dua for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And we have to continue to make dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lift their suffering. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make their lives easy. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to provide them with the strength and valor to live there and protect the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he went when the Muslim armies began, making advances in the Arabian Peninsula. They started advancing in the African continent. They started advancing everywhere. And many places, the Christians would welcome the Muslim armies because they knew the Christians were more just than the people who ruled over them, without a doubt. That when the Byzantines left Egypt, the Christians were crying. The Christians were crying out of happiness, not out of sadness. When Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu was leaving Egypt to go forward, the Christians were crying, you're leaving us. They considered him their hero. When this was the situation, the Nasranis, the Christians of Jerusalem, agreed to hand over Jerusalem to the Muslims. But they said under one condition. Under the command of Khalid al-Walid radiallahu anhu and under the command of Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, they surrounded the city. Sophronius, who was the leader at this time, he was a religious leader and a political leader, he said, I'll surrender if Umar radiallahu anhu comes. And Umar bin Khattab, the famous story of him and his servant, riding there, when they arrived in Bayt al-Maqdis, Umar radiallahu anhu was wearing his normal clothes. He wasn't wearing anything special. He wasn't wearing any sort of royal garb or anything like that. They they were amazed at the simplicity of this man riding on a donkey or walking beside the donkey while his servant rides on the donkey. So much so that they were indistinguishable from each other. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he was given a tour of Bayt al-Maqdis, of Jerusalem. He was given a tour where he was shown the church of Holy Sepulchre. And at the time, when the time of Salah came, Sophronius invited Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu to come inside and offer his Salah in this church. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu said no. Sophronius insisted. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he said no. He said, if I pray here later on, the Muslims may establish a masjid here. And I don't want this to happen. And I want the Christians to have their house of worship. And so where Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu prayed later on, there was a masjid established here. It's called Masjid of Umar. So Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ, all of our pious predecessors, they all understood the level and the honor of this land. But at the same time, they didn't let the honor of this land overtake the rights of the people. So we as Muslims, we know the rights of that land. We know the rights of those people. We know even so much so till today that the families which hold the keys of the churches are Muslims. And the Christians are happy with that over there. So we know the level of justice. We know the level of integrity which comes from Muslims. We just have to unite our hearts and understand the suffering of our Muslim brothers and sisters and make dua for them. This is the least we can do. We can do istighfar, which we spoke about last week, seeking the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then make a dua for our brothers and sisters who are suffering in Falastin and all throughout the world. Our brothers and sisters are suffering everywhere you look. But especially make a dua today for the brothers and sisters of Palestine. And there's a program which is happening tomorrow at the UNCC, which they're going to be talking about Palestine. It's happening from 1 to 4 p.m. It's at the Cone Center. American Muslims for Palestine, they're doing it. And we have a few more announcements. Brother Fahim Bhatti, he's passed away in South Africa. He was a friend of Brother Wasif Waja. Make dua for him. The grandmother of Sister Nida is sick. Please make dua for her. Brother Aziz Rahman, whose son, Wahid, he lives in Charlotte. Wahid Rahman, he's sick. He's on the ventilator in Pakistan. Please make dua for him. And there was one more request. Give me 1 second. better understanding, and may He forgive us for any sins of omission and commission. And inshallah, we'll have the sunnah break now. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.